The next section in weighted sums and averages is going to be readability indices, or two different readability indices that we have. One, the Fogg index, and one, the Flesch-Kincaid grade level index. We're going to check out a short excerpt about the Gettysburg Address. Notice how you count certain things that are necessary in order to use these two formulas, and then we'll come back and analyze what we have here.
This is a excerpt from the Gettysburg Address, and we're going to use this to validate the variables that we need in order to adequately use and compute the Fogg index and the Flesch-Kincaid grade level index. You'll notice the four variables that I have up here: complex words, number of syllables, number of words, number of sentences. All four of those variables are used in some way or another in either the Fogg index or the Flesch-Kincaid grade level index. Now you also notice here in blue I have highlighted several words. These words are 3 syllables. They are not proper nouns, and they do not end, their third syllable does not end in ing, es, ed, so on and so forth. These are called complex words. Now these words may not be complex to you because you know what they mean. However, they do fall under the definition of complex words. Therefore, we need to count every word that's 3 or more syllables and doesn't have the restrictions of being a past tense, present tense, future tense word. Also, number of syllables. Number of syllables is going to take students back to their grammar back in elementary school, wherever they have to make sure they know how many syllables each word is. And you'll notice here in red I've counted the syllables for the top line, and I've put the total for the top line over here on the right side. This is a good way to check and to document the number of syllables for each line, and then you just put your total over on the right side or the left side, and then you just add up everything that you have on the right or left side of the excerpt. You can also do the same thing with the number of words to make sure you don't accidentally count the same word twice. However, the more you mark up the excerpt, the more confusing it might appear whenever you're trying to answer these simple questions here: what are those variables? Or whenever you're trying to make sure you get everything you need. However, I've already done this for you. I found the complex words is 10, the number of syllables is 193, the number of words is 142, and the number of sentences is 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this information from this excerpt and we're going to apply it and look at the Flesch-Kincaid grade level index and Fogg index.
So if you take a look at the two formulas that we have, the Fogg index, first we have the number of words, number of sentences, number of complex words are the 3 variables that you need for the Fogg index. And then the Flesch-Kincaid grade level index, we have number of words again, number of sentences again, but this time instead of complex words we have here the number of syllables. So the Fogg index requires complex words, which the paperwork defines what a complex word is, and then the Flesch-Kincaid talks about the number of syllables. However, both use number of words and number of sentences. So whenever you go through that excerpt, whichever excerpt you use, you need to count the number of words, find the complex words, find the number of syllables, and find the number of sentences, because all 4 of those variables allow you to do both of these things. Once you find that information, you then substitute it in the appropriate formula in the appropriate place, and then calculate your Fogg index, your Flesch-Kincaid grade level index. These two indices, the Fogg index and the Flesch-Kincaid grade level index, measure different things. However, both of them are associated with your level of education. The Fogg index talks about or gives you a number that represents the number of years of education required in order to adequately and appropriately read and understand whatever text you're looking at. The Flesch-Kincaid grade level index indicates the grade you should be in or beyond in order to adequately and appropriately understand the text you're reading. This is a very simple operation of a formula. Again, order of operations is extremely important here. Notice the addition and multiplication, division of the operations. The grouping symbols here, so you want to do everything in parentheses first. Divide and multiply before you do any addition or subtraction. Here, the grouping symbols are a little bit more spaced out. So you're going to divide and then multiply, divide and then multiply, and then add across, making sure order of operations is strictly adhered to. But guys, that's readability indices.